S.C.A.M Artist TV. I'm your host, Paulthewysguy. I'm joined by my group of colleagues. I got my boy Ron here. What's going on, Ron?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Also got my boy Stardager here. What's going on now?
What up, people? I mean, check me out. Stardager on Twitter, at Stardager, S.A.M.
All right. So just to give you a brief explanation of what S.C.A.M Artist is. S.C.A.M Artist, the term S.C.A.M is a acronym, and it stands for superheroes, comic books, anime, and manga. And the goal of our group is to debate, discuss, find, discover. We want to introduce people to anime, manga, superheroes, things of artistic nature. We're not just like a group of geeks and nerds. Like we come from all different backgrounds, and but we all come together because we love this shit. Really, that's what it's about. So at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. So we have a Facebook group. You can find the link down below if you want to join and be a part of these discussions as well. So today we're going to do three different things. So we have a couple segments that we're going to introduce. The first is we're going to do a review for Thor. After the Thor review, we'll go into a segment we like to call the get out of jail free topic. And that is a segment where we'll just discuss controversial or interesting or obscure things that may have caught our attention, and it's something that we like to address. The last thing we'll do is we'll leave you guys off with a few recommendations for anime, comic books, superheroes, art, TV shows, movies, and things that we liked and we thought that you might like as well. And then we'll let you know what the group pick battle for Monday will be, and then we'll go from there. All right, so we'll go ahead and kick it off with Thor. All right, first of all, fellas, just tell me, what did you guys think about Thor? Did you like it, not like it? Just give me a yes or no on that one. Was it good or not?
It's like in between for me.
In between?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can respect that. Ron, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll probably just say the same thing. It was kind of in between. There were certain parts in two that I liked better than the first, but overall, I would just have to say that it was kind of a tie to me, really.
Okay, all right.
So to speak.
I mean, I disagree with you guys. I'm gonna put that out there right away. But
okay,
me personally,
okay, all right.
Try to sum this up in 60 seconds or less. And for me, Thor was, they hit it out the park. I think they did a good job. This was a home run in my opinion. I really felt like the first movie didn't capitalize on a lot of things that are in the Thor mythos. Now, I'll put this out there up front. I'm not a huge Thor fan, but I know of him. I'm a huge Avengers fan, so I'm well versed in Thor, but I've never really cared for the character that much. So the whole lead up to the Avengers film really actually made me look at this character and give him a second chance, so to speak. So this was my first time really getting into the character of Thor. So the first movie, it was okay, but in my opinion, it was the worst of the Avenger lead up movies. And that's kind of tough to be the worst one in that case, because you have Incredible Hulk, which wasn't that great, and you have Captain America, which could have been a little bit better too. So
Right.
Now, arguably, I still felt like they didn't capitalize on the scale and scope of Thor. The first Thor felt very minimized to small locations, and Thor's supposed to be a larger than life character, and he didn't feel that grand on the first film. On the second film, Thor really feels like a larger than life character. You can see the realms, all the different realms are coming to appreciate and respect Thor's power as he's going on and fighting these battles for Asgard and bringing the realms back together. And the movie doesn't feel like it's such a small scale. It feels like it's a large scale at that point. And then you see Thor's also being put in position to become the next king of Asgard. And those things are starting to fall in place. And you can also tell that this is a follow-up to the Avengers because Loki is now in custody in Asgard and he's being punished for his crimes. So I really feel like they were taking this movie in the right direction and they were setting it up for a good thing. So I felt like they capitalized. The villain was great, and You know, the villain had a huge impact. It felt kind of Star Trek-y at times, I will say that. But,
Yeah.
like at times I found myself comparing those elves to Klingons. But, the elves were a really cool villain. And the whole setup too with the relationship between, what is her name? The main character. I can't think of it. It escapes me, but his love interest.
I don't know either.
That's all right. Don't worry,
excuse me for that. But it escapes me. But when he left and didn't see her again during the Avengers, it does leave that question open to her. Like, all right, what happened? You left for like 2 years, and am I supposed to be just like okay with that? You know, like I really felt like they hit the beats that they needed to hit. They addressed the things that they needed to address. They addressed his relationship in Loki. They addressed his relationship with his, love interest. And they really brought it all together. And then on top of all that, they gave you an interesting story and a better packaging than the first movie did. And I really felt like they nailed it. So I like the film. So that's where I'm going with this. I actually thought it was better than the first movie. And I feel like it should be up for consideration for movie of the year thus far. So,
Oh, really?
between that and Ender's Game, I'm really enjoying it. All right.
Out there, but you know,
I know, reaching.
that's a word.
So you're trying to say is this a loopy arm right now? I'm reaching right now, so that's what we're going with.
Hard.
You know.
Stardager, give me your impression of the film.
All right. Comparatively, it's the better film. The first one was trash. I will not agree with you with it being the worst because Captain America exists. So if Captain America didn't exist, I would give you the worst. And even with the Hulk existing, the first Hulk was trash. The second Hulk was a lot better than the first Hulk.
Agreed.
So out of those three, like the Hulk would be the better in my opinion. But back to Thor. My issue with it is probably my issue with a lot of things right now. I agree with you where they hit all of the right points that they were supposed to hit. For the people that are new fans to Marvel franchise movies, coming off of the first movies, the Avengers, and bringing this movie out, they tie in really well the way that you're supposed to. I completely agree with that. My issue is that the acting is lackluster. The lead character can't act. Like, he couldn't hold a movie together. Like, you had to put a big name next to him in order for that movie to even be remotely good. Loki, every time he's on the screen, steals the show. Every single time. I have an issue with that. That's always my problem. I think the acting better. Maybe I'm just a little spoiled with certain things.
No.
Look at it.
And then also, time-wise, the movie was an hour and 46 minutes? Something like that?
Yeah.
I felt like the movie was 2 hours. Why? Because the intro, just the setup to get to the big fight was completely long, completely boring, and the dialogue-driven scenes with bad actors is terrible. It's just terrible. So, the action was good. The build-up that was required to make it a good movie, good. The tie-ins, good. But what's needed to hold a film together, the acting, the pacing of the movie, I think was bad. So, overall, I give it, I would give it a thumb and a half. Whatever. I'm going to give it a thumb and a half, mostly just because I think it could have been presented better.
Okay. I can respect that. Rob?
Well, that's interesting that you brought up that point about Loki taking the show, because I do feel like it was definitely centered around Loki. And I don't really have a problem with that, but it seems like the Thor wasn't even stepping up to the plate when he needed to. The whole movie, was centered around Loki, and it definitely seemed like that when the trailer was released, that it would be that way. But it just seemed to me that I don't want to watch a whole movie that's focused on Loki. And it's focused on Thor.
Well,
and I feel like it, okay, go ahead.
If it was called Loki, then I totally dig what you're saying, bro.
All right, I kind of disagree with something though. Like, I do agree that Loki, Tom Hiddleston is just a much better actor, and he does steal every scene that he's in. Even scenes with Anthony Hopkins, it was really a battle between who's the better person in that scene. You know what I'm saying? But that's just a credit to me to Tom Hiddleston's acting ability. I don't think that the actor who plays Thor is as bad as you're giving him. But I feel like he's a good enough actor to carry this film. I don't feel like he's a good enough actor to be better than Tom Hiddleston in any scene that Tom Hiddleston's in. But now to address what you said about Loki, Ron, like, I don't think that this was a Loki film. I feel like this was very much so a Thor film. But whenever you deal with Thor, you have to deal with the Loki thing too, because that is the yin to his yang, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. And every Thor story is involved with the primary Thor stories are involved with Loki trying to thwart him somehow. And I felt like they needed to address they're still brothers at the end of the day. They have to address that relationship. And I really enjoy the way that they use the mother in the film to address their relationship, because it just highlighted all the issues that Loki does have as a person. Like, he really feels like he's the redheaded stepchild. He really feels like he's the forgotten son. And he was misled all this time, and he's been lied to, and he's saying, look, I'm acting out because I need answers, and I'm not getting those. So this behavior should be normal.
I will agree with you. I agree with you on the showing who Loki was, really. Because on the one scene when he went to the jail to ask Loki for help, and he told him to drop the disguise, and Loki was like sitting on the floor just looking wrapped by the fact that his mother was killed.
Right.
It really exposed the character that you really didn't see before.
Right.
Yeah.
But not only that, though, like, it was his action that led to his mother's death. Like, that he's even more wrecked because it was his own fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he didn't tell that guy where to go, that guy wouldn't have headed towards his mom, and his mother would still be alive. So it's his. Like, sometimes it's like when you're that deceitful and such a conniving and manipulative person, those things come back to haunt you. And this was a perfect example of that. So, not to dwell on this, I think you make a good point that Tom Hiddleston does drive the majority of these films. Like, he's driven the first Thor film, he's driven the Avengers film, and he's driven now the second Thor film. And so it has become a thing where it's become a Loki show. I think that Marvel has kind of recognized that too, as they pointed out that Loki won't be present in the Avengers sequel. So they do want to sort of be able to stand alone without Loki and Tom Hiddleston being like the focal point at all times. So I think that's a good decision to them, because we don't want to get over Loki either. That's the thing too. Like, I feel like 3 movies with Loki in them, and this is not even a Thor. The Thor trilogy is bound to happen, and that means we're going to see Loki for a 4th time. So, but I think that let's just break off of that for a second, because I think we all have different opinions on how this film went down. I still think it was better than the first one. Okay. So, and maybe you guys agree with that too. So then I think we're all on the same page.
I totally agree with that.
But
I totally agree with that. I can agree.
So then, all right, let's talk about our get out of jail free topic. So, recently the writers of the Batwoman comic book for DC Comics posted some information about their departure from the project. And it had to do with a lot of things and decisions made by DC. And chief amongst them was the fact that DC did not want to allow them to marry Batwoman to her lesbian partner in the comic book. So they put the kibosh on the wedding. So there was a couple other things, and they did. A lot of times it seems like a lot of grandstanding or people just making a public issue about this when it really doesn't. Sometimes in the background when business is going down, it's not what's on the surface. Now, to DC's credit, I'll say that they've done a lot of other things where you feel like they've already kind of pioneered some things. Like the fact that Batwoman is a lesbian in the comic books to begin with is pretty big.
And they gave you a gay Green Lantern.
Right. A gay Green Lantern. Alan Scott as Green Lantern being gay is a huge deal. So I feel like that DC has like trailblazed some of these things that, so I don't want to just jump out there and say that, DC is a horrible homophobic company, because that's not my thought. I do want to kind of say though that like the writer said that a lot of their issues with the decisions from DC was that they were handed out at the 12th hour or 11th hour, or right before the and they basically wanted to change their entire story that they have already been working up to at this point. So like, as a writer myself, I can appreciate that that's not a cool thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not cool that you just wait until I'm almost done with the book and say, you know what, I don't like the direction you're going there.
Nah.
So,
right. Let's just switch some things up here.
So then what do you guys think? Do you think this is DC being homophobic, or do you think DC was just making some decisions and this just kind of panned out that way? Like, what are your thoughts?
I think it's I don't think it's homophobia, because it's really the eye of the country now. So you're cool with gay people. People are cool with lesbian people. People are not cool with gay people being married. People are not cool with lesbians being married. And I think it really came down to the fact that would they lose readers if they published a marriage? I think that was the decision. I think it was totally based on societal rules that are currently in existence.
Okay. Well, Ron, what are your thoughts?
I think it's probably a risk factor for the character, and they don't really want to tarnish the character's image, so to speak, the individual character, the DC character. That's what I think.
Oh, you mean DC?
But I feel like one.
Because, if Batwoman herself is already a lesbian, is that really tarnishing that character?
Exactly.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
Right.
It's not. If it's established and everyone knows, but if the creators don't want to put that out, then it could be another problem.
Now,
here's
one thought. So what if the possibility is that DC doesn't want this to come off as a publicity stunt? Like, they don't want this to be seen, because the first superhero who has a gay marriage is going to occur, and normally comic books, they try to capitalize off of things like that. We've all seen it: the death of Superman, the death of Captain America, sensationalizing characters that we know and love to make a quick buck, so to speak. But maybe now, what if DC's standpoint is like, look, we don't want to do this and then come off as it was just done as a publicity stunt. Now, I don't think it would come off that way, but that could be one of their decisions.
I honestly, I think that most businesses put capital above all other decisions.
I agree.
So I wouldn't believe that, because I feel like if they did that and it sold well, that it would be such an awesome thing for them. Like, I don't really care. I don't really think they would care if it came off as them trying to exploit a situation. at the end of the day, it's about $1. And if that situation is going to get them $1, I think they go all for it. Right. I really do.
So then I'm trying to paint a world where I see DC making decisions that aren't based off the fact that this is a gay marriage. And I'm having a hard time seeing it. I don't feel like this is, I definitely don't feel like this is homophobia. So I want to go on record as saying that I don't think this is homophobia, but I do feel like the decision-making process is kind of questionable. Like, again, this happened at the 11th hour. This has happened with writers who have been a part of this project for a very long time, and they've put a lot of care into sculpting these stories that they've written. And for them to, be told at such a late stage in the game that this is not going to occur, or we want you to redo it, or rewrite it, or write this out of the story, you got to kind of wonder what is behind that. So anyway, I mean, we're not going to get down to the bottom of it here, but I thought it was very interesting. Somebody posted it in the group, and I wanted us to talk about it. So if you guys out there,
I'll say one more thing.
Yeah. Go for it.
I'll say one more thing on it. Like you said, like I said before, like I don't think it's a homophobic thing or whatever. But I think maybe it was some internal conflict, outside of, what's happening in the country and everything like that. It might have been some internal conflict. Maybe some writers bumped head with some execs or something like that. Nobody's really going to, put that out there, because people still want to be acceptable in the industry. And if you start talking negatively about executives, you may get blackballed.
Okay, that's a good point. And that's something I hadn't even considered.
Well, I want to say this: if it's not a homosexual issue, then why would they not want to put that type of particular segment out to the masses? Because wouldn't it bring more people in?
Well, I mean,
the thing is that you already have, like, it's a known fact that the Green Lantern is gay.
Right.
Okay, that's a known fact.
It's a known
fact that she's a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I think what you stated was a good point. Yeah, I mean, because like you could both bring up two good points. Because like one, like it could just be like a writer and executive, butting heads or things like that. Because this wasn't the only issue that caused them to leave the project. There were other things that happened at a late stage in the game. So it definitely sounds like they had a communication issue there too. So, but you're right, Ron. Like, why would that get taken off the table? Like, if you're just having communication issues or you're butting heads, at the end of the day, this is still a business, like Stardager said, and we have to manage this professionally. So, anyway, let's move on. Let's give some recommendations. So, Ron, I'm gonna start off with you, and I'll end up going last, and then go ahead and give a recommendation for for the people out there to kind of, make them aware.
Okay, well, I have two. One is Rainbow Nisha. Now, I have been posting in the group for I don't know how long and talking about this anime. This anime you guys have to check out. By the first episode, if you're not hooked, I don't know what's going on. It deals with 6 teens who are incarcerated in this juvenile detention center / jail. And they are put through some serious trials and tribulations. And it's a really good series. The next one, Samurai Flamenco. Now, Thomas, I know, you was on it. Let me tell you, this is a good anime. Yeah, the main character doesn't have all these superpowers. He's not overpowered like Luffy and Naruto. But let me tell you, this guy has pride, he has determination, he has the willpower to withstand anything. It's good. And by episode 7, if you're not hooked, I'll give you all $5. Because it's that good. But those are the 2 recommendations I'll give to you guys.
That's $5 for every person who doesn't get hooked. You might want to.
That's it. Yep.
You gotta watch the first 7 episodes now. Yeah, I watched the first 7 episodes, and I don't dislike it that much. Like I said, I just think it's cheesy. That's all I said. I think it's cheesy.
All right,
I just think it's cheesy.
Okay.
I have some thoughts on this, but I'm gonna let you go first, and then when we get to me, I'll go ahead and give my thoughts on it.
All right, my recommendation. I'm only going to do one because it's kind of off the cuff. I'll go with Log Horizon. If you're an MMO fan, if you like Sword Art Online, this is a good anime to get into. It's relatively new. It's only about 5 or 6 episodes in, maybe 7. I'm not completely sure, but I really think it touches on the MMO genre really well. If you're a fan of MMO, more specifically MMORPGs, if you're a fan of that, give Log Horizon a check out. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment.
So, I'm going to recommend The Breaker. So, a lot of people have been in the group posting about The Breaker recently, and I feel like this manga doesn't get enough credit like it deserves. It is a really, really well-written manga. The characters are very rich. It's actually in its 2nd series now called The Breaker New Waves, and I haven't caught up that far yet. So I will say that the pacing is a little bit slow for my initial liking, which is why it kind of took me so long to start getting into it. But they don't. This is one of those mangas, much like Samurai Flamenco, where the main character doesn't get built up right away, and we're so used to seeing that in a manga that when we don't get that, we're kind of disappointed. So The Breaker, the main character is this little kid, and arguably it's a kid. So it's a kid and a student. The story is about the student and his mentor, and it's all about kind of martial arts, and it's really focusing on the martial arts. That's another thing that I really liked about this. The martial arts styles that they use in this are very old school and rich and deep with culture. So it really focuses on that. And there's all these different gangs, and they all kind of follow the school of this martial art thought. So I definitely recommend this one. Give it a try. I think you'll enjoy it. And like I said, so if you can get past the fact that it's a little bit slow before the main character actually starts doing some kick-ass stuff, you'll really appreciate it. So I just want to touch on Samurai Flamenco really quick. So I was on the verge of dropping this anime, and I understand like the reasons that Thomas Stardager is saying, and I get it because like at first. The best comparison I can give this is it's kind of like a cross between Kick-Ass and like a slice of life type of anime.
Yeah, totally.
Kick-Ass is the Japanese anime version of Kick-Ass, so to speak, except for this kid doesn't have any freak accident that actually gives him some type of ability that makes him some kind of invulnerability to these villains that he's encountering. So, but it's kind of a slow development. You see all these things happening. It seems more comedic than it seems action-packed. And like I said, again, like
it's definitely funny.
Yeah, it's actually funny. So the characters are kind of they're kind of bland at first, but then like once you start getting into around episode 5 or so, you start seeing that there's some other things going on in this thing. Like there's this sort of the comparison to the Kick-Ass is probably the best one, and the reason why I say that is because there's this girl vigilante who comes about, and she is basically the equivalent of Hit Girl. And yes. And you don't like her, but you also like her at the same time for that very reason. So it starts building up, but like by episode 7, like Ron is saying, something completely left field happens, and this is the point where you, like as an anime fan, you're like, yes, like you're up on your, like you like at the screen and you're just like ready to burst, and it gets really, really good. So in my opinion, I think that there are nothing but good things in the future for this show. So I definitely feel like while it isn't as explosive as a show like Attack on Titan is, it's definitely a sleeper. And that's what this is. It's kind of a sleeper because like I was like, wavering, and then like by episode 7, it pulled me in. It reeled me in. So now I'm in for the long haul. So I can't wait unless they do something to completely mess it up.
If y'all ain't say anything about episode 7, you can ask Paul. He'll watch for this. I give shows 1, 2, maybe 3 episodes before they get the trash can.
Yo, as a strict like, how about episode 3? You didn't make it up. You made it into the trash can. Like, there's so much that as we do more shows, guys, we'll get to go into the things, because like there are things that I want to touch base on, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just being horrible and the disappointment. And tomorrow will actually be interestingly, or surprisingly good. And there's some other shows on the horizons that people are talking about. So I'm going to leave this video with us pointing out with there's a Facebook group. Please join our Facebook group. It's the S.C.A.M Artist Facebook group. I'll put a link down in the description. The intro music was provided by one of our group members. His name is Marcus Oliver. The outro music is provided by one of our group members. His name is Adrian McFly. He's also a battle rapper. He had a battle today. He would actually have been on the video with us, but he's out there hopefully chewing somebody for 3 rounds. And so good luck to him today. And, we support. He wanted the S.C.A.M fam, and we appreciate that. The logo was a recreation done by Aisha J. Khan. She's one of our group members as well. And, come in the group, mix it up with us, chit chat. If you disagree with things that we have to say, that's fine. We don't have a problem with that. We are willing to debate our points. This is just the first of many. Right. Hopefully you'll see a lot more professionalism and a lot more development from us as we continue to do this. So hope you guys join us on this journey, and we'd like to say, thank you. Peace.
All right. Once again, you can catch me on Twitter at Stardager, S.C.A.M. See ya.
Ron, you want to shout out your Twitter before we leave?
I'm also on Twitter as well. Ron's Legacy, RONS Legacy. Check you guys later.
And you can follow me at Paulthewysguy on Twitter. And I'm also Paul on Facebook. Friend me, holla at me. Don't be in my inbox trying to DM me on some BS stuff, okay? All right. We'll catch y'all later.